Okay, hello guys. It's been a while since we played this, hasn't it? And yeah, unfortunately, I have a couple of announcements to make. The first one is that this stream is going to be a bit shorter. I know I already said that about the other one, and it ended up not being the case, but today it absolutely is. Like, I have a time limit of 2 hours today, so just a heads up. Right, and outside of that, I also have a couple of announcements in regards to like some streams. But I guess I should actually wait for more people to arrive before I actually make these, now that I think about it. So yeah, let's just get to the game already. And I'll do the announcements when/if more people come. Oh right, and I'm supposed to make a discussion today. Hello Muvele and hello Sun. So yeah, I guess I should like tackle the subject of the stream and then do the announcement, right? But yeah, to get into it, I think the question is a bit more complicated than just saying no. Like, what makes a female character good is like the same thing that makes male characters good, because yeah, that is like what the things are supposed to be, right? But from what I've seen, people have a very particular like idea of what makes a good female character. And you can see that by the language that people use, right? Now, what I mean by this is that, for example, a character like Freeran, right? How do I change things again? Yeah, okay, it's like that. God damn it, I forgot how to do so many things in this game. Hello Kodokunasu, welcome to the stream. Hello Andres Felipe, welcome everyone to the stream. Okay, that's how you lock on. Okay, this is how you do things. Hello Genérico Jerônimo. And like, we're trying to have a more serious discussion. I appreciate the like answer either way, Kodokunasu, but I was looking more for a serious like discussion. Okay, so this is how you do things. And sorry, I have to relearn how to play. Again, you are all like tackling what should be the case. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is due to some of the things I've been seeing in regards to this debate. I guess I should try to be more specific. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's address some comments first, and then I'll get more into what I actually mean. Okay, good female characters have good character design, are cute and funny, are badass and sexy. Okay, again, I was expecting for some more serious answers, but I'll get into it. Welcome to the stream. I can't read that name. Yeah, like clear motivations, consistent writing, flaws that impact the narrative, compelling character arcs, whether positive or negative, mostly a point of view character. I'm 100% serious, cast kind of hate. What is the case? If people have different standards for females, they like. The point that I'm trying to make is that, for example, let's pick a character like Frieren. Frieren is often referred to like has a good character, for example, but she's very seldom mentioned as a good female character. And I guess it's more that type of discussion that, okay, whatever. It's more that type of discussion that I'm trying to address. Because when you see like people talking about like what makes a great female character specifically, they'll mention examples like Izar? Okay. For example, I'd rather people say a good character than a good female character. Again, I would prefer that too, and that's exactly what we're going to be like kind of addressing today. Because a lot of people have this idea, like when they talk about good characters in general, they would mention a bunch of the characteristics that Muvelair, for example, mentioned. No matter their gender, right? But when people talk about a good female character specifically, they'll mention characters like Jolene Cujo from JoJo, obviously. They'll mention characters like Maki from Jujutsu Kaisen, right? They'll mention characters like Mao Mao from okay, they'll mention characters like Maki or like Mao Mao from like the Apothecary Diaries. They'll mention characters like that, right? And the problem that I have with that is that people seem to have a very narrow perception of what makes a good female character specifically. So it's less what makes a good female character that I want to discuss, and more this narrow perception that people have of a good female character. When people say good female character, they usually pick characters that don't have the male gaze, saying good female character is performative nonsense. In general, I don't know if I would go that far, but like Like if people are specifically asking what about women are written well, that's not really an issue in itself. I just think that, like, the perception that people have is very limiting, you know? Because it feels like people will acknowledge various types of characters as well written, but if they want specifically a female character to be well written, she needs to fit into a certain box, you know? That's, I guess, oh, so do you mean, why do people specifically say good female character? Exactly. Like, when people want to say that a character is good, they refer to various characters of various genders. But, like, when they mean, like, when they talk about examples of good female characters specifically, they usually have to fit into a certain box of being quote-unquote strong. And strength doesn't just mean being like a girl boss or a badass. The people who make that argument counter that misconception all the time. Because a character doesn't need to be physically strong to be strong. So they will mention even characters like, as I said, Mao Mao, which is much more of an emotionally or intellectually strong female character, right? But what the issue I take with this is that it makes it seem like a female character needs to have a particular set of traits to be good. Like, for example, having a motivation that does not include a man, right? Like, obviously, like, those kinds of characters can be good, and it's interesting to have a motivation of their own that doesn't involve another character in general. But for example, the maiden in love archetype. Like, can a female character of that archetype not be good? Because whenever people make that argument, they generally exclude this. For another thing, like, for example, a damsel in distress. Can a damsel in distress not be written well? Obviously, there's the whole argument of, oh, but, like, female characters shouldn't be, like, confined to these boxes. Obviously, yes. But, like, if they do fit into these boxes, like, they should be automatically considered bad because of it. Like, that's another side of the coin. And again, that's my issue with it. Like, it's the limiting kind of box that this whole label of good female character puts on female characters in general. Makes it seem like a female character can't be good if they fit into certain archetypes. They need to fit into particular archetypes to be considered good. Like, that's my issue. When I think that we should be able to acknowledge good characters in various archetypes. Like, we should be able to acknowledge that, again, maidens in love, or like housewives, or like, what's the name, damsels in distress. Like, all these characters can be well written as well. Like, a female character can be fit into these classifications and still be well written, but of course they shouldn't always fit into only those classifications. And that's the point. I think a lot of people in pursuit of, like, what's an actually noble goal of trying to take female characters away from being, like, limited to those boxes. Like, act like the boxes themselves are bad and not their prevalence. As if a character of any kind like this is bad. You know? And again, that's more or less my issue with it. It's again less with the actual, how do I say it? Objective critique, because objectively, yeah, the things that make a good male character and the things that make a good female character are very similar, and they should be held to either the same, if not similar standards. But in online discourse specifically, what I notice is something different. Is like female characters have to be confined to certain boxes if they are to be acknowledged as good. And that's more or less my issue and what I actually wanted to discuss. In general, I think just the discourse should be more about like acknowledging and talking about the various ways, like various kinds of characters can be well written. Like, how can we write, again, badass heroine well? How can we write Denzel in distress well? How can we write like very intelligent female character well? How do we write an emotionally strong female character well? How do we write a mother well? How do we write a weak or like outright girl failure well? I think what bothers me is, again, those boxes, is people confining female characters specifically to those boxes and acting like they need to be a certain way to even have the chance of being good in the first place. And that's more or less where the crux of my argument lies, like the crux of my issue and what I wanted to discuss. Though, let me read some of what you guys are saying, so that like I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, I disagree. I think people looking for, quote, good female characters very often are looking for woman characters who don't fit into a common box badly written women are restricted to. The reason people look for that is for a long time having men-only motivations was the boring restrictive box men in fiction, women in fiction were relegated to. Again, it's all about oversaturation versus variety. You have it all backwards, honestly. And again, I get it, but like in not wanting female characters to be restricted to those boxes, they kind of restrict female characters to different boxes. It's just changing the boxes they're restricted to instead of adding actual variety, you know? Because people who say that will often act like if you do make a female character into a Denzel in distress, she's automatically like bad or a healer or anything like that. They don't discuss, okay, how can we take like, obviously we shouldn't restrict women to these boxes. We should look for more, how do I say this, for women who like don't need to fit into them, who can have other like roles in a story. But these roles, these more quote-unquote classical roles, how can we make characters that do fit in those roles and like are good as well, you know? Hello, Big Pew. That's my issue, because again, it really feels like people are just going from one problem to another instead of actually fixing anything. Because again, okay, wanting female characters to have other roles in fiction, great. Obviously, I agree with that. But acting like female characters can't be good if they go on these more, again, quote-unquote classical roles is my problem. And I think that's the way in which the discussion should be expanded on, and the faults that currently we have, you know. But anyway, That's largely a Western problem. Remember, people use the Bechdel test to determine if female characters were good. Test being, do the women talk to each other about anything besides men? Meanwhile, every other country just treats women as regular characters. The thing is, those people don't understand that secondary, tertiary characters are not gonna have grand motivations. While the Bechdel test wasn't meant to be taken that seriously, if no movie ever passed it, that would be demonstrative of the kinds of boxing OA is talking about, just in the other direction. Again, and those aren't good. Like, acknowledging that putting female characters within those boxes, like, and not allowing them to be different, is not a bad thing. Wanting more different female characters is not a bad thing. But a lot of people go so far into that they just go into a different problem, which is acting as if characters fitting into these boxes itself is wrong, you know? So again, I do understand the perspective of these people. I just have my own issues with how far it's being taken. Exactly, just a ridiculous test being impassable means West has... okay, that was... like... I don't agree with this. I do get Muvele's points that's like... if... like... no female character or no movie could pass that test, that would indeed be a problem. But there's also the thing of, okay, but how much do the male characters not talk about women? Like, what scenes do we have? A lot of scenes of male characters talking about things other than women too. Like, it'd be interesting to make the test to see if things are actually that bad, if there is actually a problem, as well as to do the opposite test to see if, like, this isn't a problem with male characters too. Because personally, I find myself hardly passing the Bechdel test in either direction, because I write a lot of romance stories, and in those stories, like, all the characters do is talk about, because they're straight romances, the opposite gender. So are those stories necessarily bad? You know, that's the problem. I don't mind the attitude itself, but the application of it, I think, sometimes can go too far. Anyway. If a female dancer in distress is bad, is a male dancer in distress bad as well? Again, this is also a problem, because a lot of people will say that certain, like, how do I say this? Certain tropes are bad when they're applied to women, and then they will apply them to men, and not see how, if it is bad for one, it can be bad for it should be bad for the other too. For example, that show, The Rings of Power. A lot of people complain about so-called fridging, which is to kill a female character in order to advance a male character story. Okay, that trope is bad. Let's go with that argument. At the beginning of The Rings of Power, there's a male character, I think it's Galadriel's big brother, who he dies in order to advance and give motivation to Galadriel. Okay, but if fridging is a bad thing, then then doing that to a male character, applying that cliche, wouldn't be a bad thing too? Why are you doing this? If a lot of the people who wrote Rings of Power are exactly the kinds of people who would think that fridging is a bad cliche. Like, there's that problem as well. But anyway. Anyway. Anyways. It's It's like how you don't say, how do we make sure men feel included in male-dominated workplaces? Understand the tendency when so many say Denzel and Distress characters are badly written and sexist. Again, if that's true, then shouldn't we be looking for ways that, like, to make them well written? Like, if I see something that is genuinely poorly executed, my first thought isn't like, no, let's just get rid of it completely. That's completely unfair. Like, how can we make it good? Like, for example, if I apply this, then I would just, if I did this, like, approach myself, I would say, no, fuck girl boss characters. Like, we should abolish girl bosses from media, because most of the examples I've seen are completed under S, you know? But no, like, I don't advocate for this, because obviously, like, we should be focusing on taking that trope and making it well written, not just, like, completely giving up, because the examples, and most likely the examples we've seen, not necessarily the examples present in the entire media, are bad. So I understand the motivation, again, has with a lot of these arguments, but I don't agree with the execution. But anyway. Completely depends on context, since in a romance story, yeah, characters would mostly always be talking about the opposite sex. And again, there are many issues with the Bechdel test. Like, for example, what if a story only, like, has, or mostly has male characters? Like, is that story automatically bad because, like, it doesn't pass the Bechdel test? What about romance stories? Like you guys said, obviously in romance stories that's going to happen. So are these stories exempt from the Bechdel test? Most people seem to think no. And that's my issue, again. Because the concepts, the Bechdel test as a concept, I think is interesting, but its applications, it's very flawed. And it's the same thing with the whole good female character argument. I can see, like, the justifications behind it, but in execution they don't justify a lot of the things that people do, you know? Anyway, okay, it's not. Most characters are men, and most important, CG characters are, oh, well, if you're reading straight romance, sure, there's context. In romance, characters tend to talk about their love interest. Also, these people are forgetting the MC is going to be the biggest topic of any character. I don't agree with that. Like, the main character doesn't necessarily need to be, like, the main topic of any character. That's how you get a Mary Sue. Double standard of violence. Okay. Maybe, but you're not a woman. I get seeing sexist tropes and wanting to do other stuff rather than find a good version. And again, it's that kind of thing, right? Like, sure, I'm not a woman, and I understand those feelings of, like, obviously I sound like I'm contradicting myself. Like, since I'm not a woman, I don't get how they feel about this specifically, but I get having a cliche that you see and that it's generally used in a bad way, or in a way at least that you don't like, and wanting it gone. But those feelings don't like make the action okay. It's okay to feel this way, but, like, it's not correct to, like, use that kind of, again, overwhelming approach to anything, you know? And that's my point. Like, I understand their feelings and they should be taken into account, but not to the point of, oh, because you feel this way, then yeah, let's just get rid of this. Like, that shouldn't be how this works for any group of people. Anyway. Girl bosses tend to be horrible because they're mean, but the story presents them as good, and characters are dumbed down to elevate them. Don't think the execution results in the flat media landscape you're worried about. Don't think flat or disempowered woman characters aren't going anywhere. Again, like, if we consider the entirety of media, you're correct, but, like, what I see more and more is stories turning, like, ass backwards to justify not having, like, damsels in distress, you know, or to not have, like, fridging, or, again, to consider in both online discourse and the industry, to consider the cliches themselves as bad, instead of their execution. And the stories are looking like very samey to me, you know. Again, maybe I have a skewed perspective, but the more I see is like either people doing those cliches and then trying to like do mental gymnastics as to why it's not actually that cliche, or outright like doing mental gymnastics in the story itself, so they don't have to do the cliche even when it would make sense, you know? And again, the whole internet discourse around it doesn't help with the whole standard of what makes a good female character being into these boxes as well, you know? Anyway, I don't mean the main topic, but MCs are always a big topic and the majority are going to end up talking about them. Yeah, that's more fair. Alison Bechdel herself said it was not never a test to declare what is a good and bad movie, but it's not going to go away. That's the thing you're missing. Personally, I only watch queer romance stories and not straight ones, but my own personal preference isn't going to kill the straight romance novel. Reach beyond a string and mainstream stuff people talk about. And again, like, because it's very easy to say these things, I think. Like, imagine if I said this to you, like, oh no, people complain, oh no, there aren't enough, like, queer stories in, like, places like Hollywood, or, like, in various, like, mainstream anime, etc. Imagine if people complained about that, and I just said, oh, but there are lots of, like, queer romances in, like, indie games on itch.io. Like, you can just go play them. Like, that's not the point. Like, there being a lot of cool, like, queer romance games on itch.io doesn't mean they shouldn't be in, like, anime, or they shouldn't be, or, like, that suddenly they don't need to be in more mainstream stuff. That's my problem. Like, just saying to someone, oh, just go someplace else then. Like, this is like an argument I really hate. Because for gacha games, for example, lots of people say, oh, I want a gacha game that isn't so much focused on waifus, a more serious gacha game without a lot of these fan service and kind of like sexualization waifu tropes. And a lot of people just say, oh, then just don't play gacha games. Gacha games are all about that, bro. Like, I don't think that's a good response either. Like, the fact that these stories do exist and I can find them in more niche places doesn't make it so that suddenly the mainstream things are exempt of their like having to make that as well. It should be both in the mainstream and in the niche, you know? So I really don't think that's a good argument. But it's not going to go away. That's the thing you're missing. Again, but like, you can say, oh, it's not going to go away because there's like one or other movie that does have these things. But the standard is that these things are bad. If these things are in your movie, then your movie is bad, or that character is bad. Like, sure, let's consider this, that, okay, even if this is true, then the thing is not going to go away, but it's going to diminish a lot. And like the approach that should be taken to improve those types of characters and to discuss how to make them better is not going to occur. We aren't going to get like good damsels in distress. We're just going to get a lot less damsels in distress, and probably since a lot of people are like more hesitant to make them because in general discussion they're considered bad on inception, they're going to continue to be bad, you know? So like it's less of a thing of, oh, it's going to disappear, because it's always going to exist somewhere, right? And more of a thing of, even if it doesn't disappear, the consequences are, there will still be consequences, and bad consequences we should be trying to avoid, you know? That is my point. Okay, then please give me an example of a recent movie that does have a more disempowered woman, you know? Please. It should diminish a lot, because how it was it was the only way. And again, that was wrong. Like, there should be more diverse female characters, but that doesn't mean that these should disappear, as people like are trying to do. Obviously, again, they're not going to disappear, but people like making it so that these are treated badly, again, as these aren't considered valid. That's the thing I have an issue with. Like, these things should be seen as another way for you to make whatever character. Like, we should actually be trying to diversify, to make characters like that, characters the other way, characters like... Again, I think you get my point. I'm not fear-mongering that it's going to disappear. Again, it's not. But what I am saying is that even if it doesn't, the consequences of this kind of rhetoric, of this kind of discourse, are still going to be negative. You know? So basically, the issue is badly written woman in the mainstream. I think that's the executive meddling problem, given, as you said, tends not to be in indies. Since nowadays the indie scene has been getting good attention, I think it's good to point to those niche audiences. Again, my point is not that this is bad. My point is that, like, dismissing an argument because of the existence of that is bad. That is my point. Rico is right too. Mainstream media is always seeking to skew into bland and common denominator for profits. And is this a good thing? Again, we should be criticizing these things. We shouldn't just say like, oh, like it's that because of this and whatever. Like, again, if people did that, I could just say to those people who don't like fan service or don't like waifus and want to play a gacha game, oh, but like, they are going to do that anyway because it's what's most profitable. Like, so just shut the fuck up and go do something else. Again, I don't like this argument. Oh, like, I understand, mainstream media is going to do that, yes, and deserves to be criticized for it. But yeah, that's more or less my point. That, like, I don't like how things are happening right now. I don't like these kinds of, the kind of rhetoric that's being, like, used right now. And I don't think like that it should be justified. Again, I do understand the other people's perspective, and I do understand why this happens, but just because I understand why this happens doesn't mean I agree with the execution. Okay? I get why people feel this way, I get why people do this, I get why things occur this way, but just because I get why they occur doesn't mean it's a good thing. Pick a Roman fantasy novel. They are very often counterintuitively written very conservatively and with traditional gender roles for women in art. They're huge now. Again, we're talking about like apples and oranges here. That's again, okay. So FKR, a single example, a court of thorns and roses. Okay. But again, we're talking about apples and oranges here. It's like, again, me complaining that, like I don't see any, like, sexualized female characters in Western games nowadays, and you pointing me to, like, anime. Like, you're missing the point. Like, I'm talking about movies, and you're talking about books. You know? So my point is to close this out that, okay, it's not, I don't see that in the types of medias that I'm watching. It may be in other types of Western media, to point out, that I'm watching. In other types of Western media, it may be there. And in like Japanese media, it may be there. But again, it's not in the kinds of medias that I'm watching. And like just pointing me out to completely different media is not doesn't solve my issue. Like I want it fixed on that media, and I want whatever problems are in the other media you pointed out to be fixed as well. That's the issue. If it's movies, I must sit it out. Okay, fair. Wait, aren't those written for women? Exactly, women can enjoy traditionally written women. And that's a point too, because again, a lot of this discussion like acts like as if those cliches can't be done well, when a woman generally can put themselves in those positions and write characters like these well, and that's all I want. I want that to be a valid like option. I want that to stop being considered this taboo and to just be seen just like anything else as just an option. You can write a female character this way or that way, and no matter how you write them, there's a good and a bad way to do so. Anyway, to the comments. So long as they say less this and not none of this you prefer, exactly. That is my point. Like those things, those cliches shouldn't be considered like things that should be eliminated. Like if they are too prevalent, yes, we should get less of this, and we should definitely try to make the like fewer examples that we do get better. That is my point. I really don't like this treatment of things like being treated as like these problems instead of not just another way to write a character. I want actual diversity. I want strong woman and weak woman, strong man and weak man, like emotionally strong man, emotionally strong woman, emotionally weak man, emotionally weak woman, etc. I don't want these cliches to be seen like necessarily in a bad light. We should strive for more diversity. We should strive for characters to be written in more ways than the boxes they usually confine to. We shouldn't just like replace some boxes by like others, you know? And like that's the crux of my issue. So yes, you hit the nail on the head. Like less this and not none of this. Yes, that's a great way to express what I mean. Then you should have been more specific when you asked. Okay, I'll take the L there. I did badly. Could be you're largely directed towards ones with these issues because social media amplifies the reach of those kinds of art because they create controversy which feeds algorithms. You know what? I'll take the L on that too. Maybe I am biased as well. Heck, not maybe. I obviously do have my biases. Heck, everyone does. That's why we can have, like, I was mentioning a couple podcasts ago, like people complaining that women are over sexualized, and some people complaining that women are being desexualized. Like, are those two people living in different realities? No, they have their biases and they're seeing like different spaces. The people complaining about women being over sexualized are probably only playing gacha games, and the people complaining about them being desexualized are probably only playing like AAA fantasy Western games. Like that is like the problem. So yes, it is entirely possible and very likely that I am biased, and I'm talking within those biases. I'm not like trying to act as if I don't have those biases. But yes, I do acknowledge that I should have been more clear about both of these, about both my biases and what I was talking about. So I apologize for that. Unfortunately, Xting is bad and should be eliminated as a common rhetoric in media analysis now. And again, no matter what, I don't like that kind of rhetoric, and it's against that kind of rhetoric in general I'm speaking against. Gonna need to like Denzel's in Distress in Steven Universe. Can you please like mention one for me? I'm not saying you're like lying or whatever. I'm just like I didn't see one. Like, I watched Steven Universe with like my family, like my mom and my brother, and like I didn't see any like Denzels in Distress, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, what characters actually do you mean? Amphibia and the She-Ra cartoon, like I didn't watch them, so like I can't comment. But like I personally didn't see any like Denzels in Distress in Steven Universe, so I really like would prefer to understand which character specifically you're talking about, because I can't imagine any, like remember any, I guess. Also, intersectionality disabled and certain races of women experience desexualization more than hypersexualization. And again, like, I'm speaking in general here. Like, there are various people with various issues, and I just think that we should focus on trying to fix them instead of just saying, like, think bad should be eliminated. And female characters are, like, something that's very commonly talked about like this, which is why I focused on it. But this is a very general discussion on like various things. Ruby gets put in jail in season 1, no? Okay. Sorry, I'm late. Church took 4 hours. Oh, hello, Arma. You missed the entire discussion. Again, Teto. you're good at that. Ruby gets put in jail in season 1, no? Let me remember that. Okay. I'm not remembering that well. Does she attempt to escape the jail, or does she just wait to be saved by other characters? Again, fair. I'll take the L there, Muvelea. Again, we already went over like that discussion, Arma. It's deeper than that. But again, anyway. Wait a minute, what do you mean about disabled woman sexualization? If it happened, I could see it generating a way worse controversy. The problem is that, like, if you don't sexualize disabled female characters, there's a controversy because, like, you're being discriminatory. And if you do, like, you're fetishizing them. Like, controversy is just what social media focus on. It doesn't matter what the fuck you do, there's going to be controversy nowadays. And that's an issue in and of itself. Also, your argument doesn't really work, Karma, when a lot of the media I'm talking about is written by women. So are you saying woman never talk to woman? Like, what is your argument there? Lapis just waits. In fact, she has to stay in jail, I'm pretty sure. Then she's not a damsel in distress. A damsel in distress wants to be rescued. Like, a damsel in distress isn't someone who chooses or who wishes to be there. Like, I'm pretty sure that Lapis is, like, one of the most powerful ones, right? So if she's in jail, she's probably there because she wants to be. Like, that's not a damsel in distress. Anyway, can't even tell you, the subject has been pretty vague. Also Lapis for that matter. Anyway. Blah 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 blah. Arma is a bird app user, as expected. God damn it. Anyway. So if one yes, that is the point, Kodokunasu. If they don't, they are being like discriminatory. If they do, they're being fetishizing. Again, it doesn't matter what you do, it's going to generate controversy. And that's a problem in and of itself. Okay. You have a limited view of distress. Then we're just talking about different things. Like, if I say damsel in distress, like, and you say damsel in distress, and we're thinking about a completely different things, then, like, your examples just don't work, because because you say, oh, but there are a lot of damsels in distress in media that I see, and like for you that may be true, but like if you're using that as a counter to my arguments, and we both think that damsel in distress means different things, then like there's just no communication happening there. Like, so like, I don't think so it's less of a point of me like having a very limited view of distress, and more of a point of us just not talking about the same thing. At least that's how I view it. Anyway, a damsel in success. To be fair, that would be pretty cool to see too, but anyway. Damsel is success. That would be pretty cool, actually. I like that. Arma does not use Twitter. Even people I agree with are too annoying. Okay. Ruby and Sapphire will still put in jail. Who cares? The public will never truly understand the mind of an author anyway. I said disabled woman being sexualized, but yes, over-sexualization, desexualization are both bad. Despite what OA is saying, there is a middle ground here. And again, I don't think, like, either of those are necessarily a problem. Like, sexualize properly, desexualize, over-sexualize. Why can't we just have, like, various different, like, representations? Though if you're saying like in general, like if you're saying over sexualization in the sense of, oh no, too many characters are sexualized, and desexualization in the sense of too many of them are desexualized, then yes, I agree that there should be a balance there, and a balance is what I want to achieve. But anyway, anyway, one sec. Simply showing attractive characters is not in itself sexualization. Yeah, Fefe. People on social media may say otherwise, but they would be wrong, okay? My god, fine. Kona's mom needs to be saved in the hospital episode, with all the amalgams. No, you're just forgetting the examples in a show you've watched. Okay, now that, no, I'm not forgetting this, because, like, you just made a good point, great point now. Like, with Coney, yes, she is a damsel in distress. She like wants to be saved but can't save herself, and so she needs other people to save her. Yes, that's what a damsel in distress is. A female character that is captured and cannot escape by the capture by herself and needs other people to like free her, while at the same time wanting to be freed. That is a damsel in distress, and now you made a good example of a damsel in distress in my understanding of the term. Oe may be forgetting, but he's old, so give him a break, fuck you. If you're talking about real people, then this is like outside of this discussion. Because, like, what is okay to do to, like, fictional characters in general is not okay to do to real people. Like, when we go to the sphere of real people, a lot of the things I think are okay to do with fictional characters, and I think should be allowed and have more examples in media, should absolutely not happen to real women. So again, this is outside the discussion, because I have different standards for both of these things, as I think everyone should. Anyway, but yeah, in general, like, what is approved or not, and like how these discussions go on social media in general, not just for female characters, like I said, but for like this whole thing of like, oh, a trope is bad and needs to disappear. That whole like rhetoric, I firmly disagree with. So I guess that's more the main takeaway, and that's, I guess I should say that I'm more bothered by how do I put this? By the general prevalence of this in modern discourse, then specifically like how female characters are treated specifically in modern discourse. Yes, I do agree with you there, Muvelea. I guess if I had to like specify it as much as I possibly can, I just think that media discussion in, or if every disabled character has absolutely zero sexual agency or is allowed to be perceived sexually, a problem. Again, I just agree with all that. And that is like, And that really is my issue there. Like, I think in general in this course we should treat tropes as like tools that we can use. It's neither bad or good, like by itself. It's just a thing that can be used for bad or for good, you know. I guess the more main point I want to talk about is about cliches being used as and being seen as and tackled as in discussion tools, instead of there being something that is idealized, something that is good no matter what, and something that's bad no matter what, as tends to happen in a lot of internet discourse for, again, various things. It's not just Twitter. This occurs here on YouTube. I see there's a lot on Instagram, like TikTok. I get that you mean Twitter has maybe social media in general, but yeah, again, I think you're falling a lot into the pitfall I talked about before of, oh, like you would have a lot more enjoyment if you ignored what people on social media are saying. Yes, like objectively I would. But what I'm trying to talk about is, yeah, but in social media we have this problem and it should be solved. It's not okay. Like, just because I could ignore it, like, doesn't and enjoy things better, doesn't mean that the problem doesn't exist. But again, I do get your points. And again, I'm not talking about that. Like with the desexualization of minorities, that is like not what I'm talking about. Like with trope, is what I would be talking about in that sense would be, for example, minorities are allowed to be like sexualized, not sexualized, and anything in between. Like, all of these should be allowed. Like, I'm not saying no, this limitation is not should be okay. It shouldn't. What I'm saying with tropes is the various executions, is the various concepts of a character. There's nothing wrong with like portraying like, I can acknowledge essentially, and I think more people should be able to acknowledge that there's nothing wrong with making like disabled character that's not sexualized, and like we have a problem of them being desexualized, and like we should solve it. Like, I think acknowledging both of these as true would be a better way to view it. Welcome, Metal Wolf. Like, yes, like disabled characters are generally desexualized in media, and that's a problem. But it's not a problem just portraying like disabled person in a non-sexual light in and of itself. That's more what I mean. Yeah, but social media feeds on outrage like this. Yeah, again, I think this discussion is kind of over. I really should like try to engage in those while like playing the game, you know? Like, there's probably something I should do. But yeah, I think most people understand my points and already like have made their own opinions, and like we reached more or less an interesting conclusion. So yeah, I think we should like move on. But also, Genérico Jerônimo, dude, that trend is based on certain Brazilian culture, so they're not entirely wrong. Again, there being a reason for like the bad thing happening doesn't mean that the bad thing is suddenly not bad, you know? I think I already talked about that. Like obviously, like there's nothing wrong with making like with sexualizing Brazilian woman, but when that's the only thing you can see, like yeah, that is a problem, as with anything. Okay. Yes, as I did already. And again, I'm Brazilian, so I can't say that. Again, it's not like sexualizing Brazilian woman is a bad thing, but when it's the whole way they can be represented, or like when it's the vast majority of the ways they are represented, then yes, that is a problem. But when that's how they act in real life, dude, but you're like but at that point you're like generalizing, because yeah, there are women who, like a lot of Brazilian women who sexualize themselves, but there are a lot of Brazilian women who don't do that. Like where's their representation? Again, like you're generalizing things. Like again, depicting, there are a lot of Brazilian women who sexualize themselves, and depicting them is not wrong. But if that's the only representation there is, then yes, that is wrong. Like you, this generalization is like wrong. You know? I don't think the difference is subtle, Kodokunasu, but like, yeah, I agree that there is a difference. Okay. I keep getting told to stop commenting so much on YouTube because it takes my time and energy. It's not like the people I correct are right, it's that I'm putting myself first. You do whatever you want, Movela. Like, I'm not your dad. Like, I'm not here to tell any of you what to do. I don't know what, but there's gotta be a way to dissuade racism in Hete. I don't know what that is. What is Hete? But anyway. When you represent a whole group of people into a single aspect, it isn't representation anymore, it's generalization. Yes, I agree. This is just racism. Holy shucks, mate. Did I say something like racist? What did I say that was racist? Like, please elaborate. Subtle is sometimes a way to tell something is not subtle. Whatever, you're just being confusing now. But yes, I agree with Teto there. And what they said. But seriously, please like enlighten me. Like what did I say that was racist? I promise you it wasn't intentional, and I like want to understand like what I did wrong. But yeah, while I wait, let's just get the Sword of Mana already.
ゃダメ。心を落ち着けて。剣と対話するのよ。これがマナの剣。私やったんだ。
Yay! Nice.
ついにお母様より先に剣を手に入れたわよ。あれ、フェアリーは？ちょっとフェアリー、どこに行っちゃったの？この剣抜いたのはいいけど、どうすればいいの？
Damn. That is like quite the pretty like goddess of mana, I guess.
聖剣の勇者アンジェラよ。あなたがマナの女神。ねえ、フェアリーはどこへ行っちゃったの？フェアリーは邪悪な者の手によってさらわれてしまいました。
No. Not every fairy is leaf.
助け出してください。なんですって？一体誰がフェアリーを？女神様、教えて。フェアリーを助けるにはどこに行けばいいの？それにこの剣、どうやって使えばいいの？お願い。マナが失われ、マナの木は間もなく枯れ果ててしまいます。私もそれと同時に消える定め。もう私にはどうすることもできません。最後にあなた方にこれを授けましょう。聖剣の勇者たち、どうかあなた方にマナの加護があらんことを。
Okay. Okay, first off, welcome to the stream, Evil Bookman. And now, let's address some comments. First, let me pause a bit, and then let me get to the comments. I said the commenting thing to say, yes, the issues you see on social media, discourse are issues, but it's not something you need to address. Okay, fair. It wasn't you, it was the other person saying it's good to hypersexualize a whole race with no nuance or other depictions, okay? And yeah, I don't like agree with like Generico Geronimo on that. And anyway. Okay. So the whole big problem is that normie media loves using the most basic stereotypes characters that don't even matter, and people want to see the diversification even if normie media can't represent the entire history of every race and culture without generalizations. Again, yes, people want to see diversification, and I don't know about the thing of like normie media not being able to represent the entire history of every race and culture without generalizations. Like, again, you can't put the whole nuance, like you can't put the whole nuance of an entire history into a single movie, but you can put various specialized depictions in various movies and have a diversity of the representation of a culture that way, you know? Okay. Generico, I think, I hope you're joking with that, and like, Muvelea is interpreting it seriously. Like, please stop with this. Let's not have like needless arguments here. Unless again you're being serious about being racist. Anyway, what class is your Angela? Let's check. Where is it? Fuck. Whatever, dude. Then I'm done with this conversation. Mysticist. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Where was I? Going back to the other thing, there's a million critical drinker clones on YouTube who parrot the same talking points. They're wrong, but I doubt. But I don't think anyone needs to exhaust themselves debunking them all. Okay. Someone with anti-fairy spray gun. Okay, good reference there. You know, among all the Valkyries, I didn't see a single dude. Do they reproduce by mitosis? There were a couple of dudes in there. Like, so no, they don't reproduce by mitosis. Anyway. This game looks good. It was inspired by Enfield, right? Fuck you. Anyway. You can be disappointed in your people and not be racist, what the fuck? Again, like... If the dude is just... If Generico Geronimo is just going to be, like, a cheeky little shit about it, then... Like, there's no point in continuing this conversation. Wait, are you guys taking it seriously? Again, like, if you're joking, despite me asking you to take this seriously, then, like... I really don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, everyone here is treating what you're saying, like, seriously. So, it really isn't the, like, context to, like, keep joking. There is a time and a place to these jokes, okay? That is the point. Again, I get it, but, like, this is really inappropriate right now. Like, we're trying to have a serious discussion here, so... You know, you get the point. I'm not gonna lose my fucking time with like, schooling people. Like, again, I'm not anyone's dad. I neither have the time nor the responsibility to do this. I'm gonna have to put that there. Okay, the rest of the comments are just people, like, talking about, like... Oh, that said, I saw some good showbit analysis on social media, YouTube recently. So it's not all bad. Okay. Please, now, you know what? I really need to focus on, like, some other things. So, unfortunately, like, I really shouldn't be, like, using my time watching reviews, as good as they may be. So, unfortunately, like, I can't ask for your recommendation on that. Because I really should be using my time on some other, like, important assignments that I have. But yeah, it's good that, like, you saw a good analysis. Like, I'll just settle for being happy for you, Muvelea. Anyway, like, that was a very interesting discussion, I think. Yeah, I was again. That's why I use that example, Muvelea, because like that's why, like, depending on the type of media that you are, like, you can like see various different types of problems. Different media have different problems, you know, and one of them was like exactly what you're talking about. And like my opinions on that are again very similar to the ones I already like said about the topics we talked about today. Again, I agree with that. Like, that has always been a part of my point. Like, it's not just an issue for like straight men, like in media. Like, there are various media that like should have things for like LGBTQ people. Like, again, I always put that same like example every time I talk about this, you know. Wait, what the fuck do I... Oh, okay, this is where I need to go. No, what I'm saying is like... when I say, oh, don't use your time on this course. No, the point I'm trying to make is like, I have 2 hours right now to play this. Like, within this time frame, obviously I can discuss things with you guys, but after this I need to focus. And so, like, that's why I don't have time to like watch the analysis. It's not a matter of, oh, I don't have any time at all. It's a matter of, oh, I don't have any time after this, you know? Hello, son. Welcome back. Are you really going to do this joke right now, Big Pew? Seriously? Okay, that's at least somewhat funnier. Fair. Muvelea, all the otome gachas and gay gachas do exist, but they're all in Japan, never to be released to the rest of the globe. Japan has a tendency of not releasing their games on global. Tragedy for the Anglophones, sorry, truly. Oh, this game has an English dub, Big Pew. It's just that it's so terrible, I don't want to, like, expose you guys to it. Like, it should be considered, the English dub for this game should be considered an actual, like, torture device by the FBI. So, like, I'm just sparing you guys of that. But there is a English dub.
じゃないでち。ヒースはどうしたんでちか、ヒースは。
さあ、あいつもよくわからんやつだからね。仮面の同士様
And
が
that plot point resolved itself. Yay!
自分が誰だかわかんなくなっちゃったみたいで。そのままどこかに消えていったよ。やつがその後どうなったかは私にゃわからんね。もういいだろ、ジャバイベ。
ヒースはどこに行ってしまったの？かわいそうなヒース。シャルロットがその悪者を退治して必ず見つけ出してあげるでち。
Anyway, maybe because they don't want people from overseas complaining about their games, or maybe because their games aren't adoptable for Westerners. It's a theory, I don't really know. I'm not into men, but like I do feel I do feel for them. Okay, I already addressed these two. I would guess there is less of a market for MLM, otome, and gachas in the West, or a perception by business people that way, but I can't say for sure. It's not that there is less like interest. God knows there are like a lot of fujoshis around here, but it's more of a perception, yeah, because who would have thought suits don't exactly have like a good perception of what the average person likes, you know? And the people who are supposed to give them like that perception usually are very terrible at their jobs. So yes, definitely there's a perception. The market for that audience is already small in its original country. That's why they don't even market these games to the West. I think that this is a bad perception, because like something can have a small market in Japan and a big market in the West due to cultural differences. Outside of that, those games are very niche, very small, exactly due to their niche audiences. So like, it's not like they like investing in those to translate it to another audience, like would give them, like would make them lose money, because again it's a game that doesn't cost much anyway, exactly because it's adapted to having a niche public. So again, I don't think that this is a good argument there. Jesus Christ, that did a lot of damage. Is that, I think it's definitely more of a perception, wrong perception by people. Okay. I also think it's a perception that companies don't know what people like, because Otome and Fujoshis... One second. Because Otome, Fujoshis, and Game in Japan already spend a lot of money on their games. Was being interrogated recently for robbing a bank with my friends. The interrogator was trying to make me say the names of my friends, but I wasn't going to budge or say anything until he whispered in, I'm guessing the dub would be a very, very irksome to suffer to, because of because of how we suspect archetype match. Yes. It's not just her, like pretty much everyone in the dub like is dubbed badly, but yeah, that is especially egregious, yes. I would know my ears of many dub, and I immediately sent everything I do. That was funny in my head. No, I get what you were trying to say. Big Pew, don't worry. Oh look, the vampire dude is dead.
ベジュフェアリーをさらったのはあなたね。何もかも終わってしまった。もはや黒の貴公子様は二度と帰らぬ。我らの主黒の貴公子様は聖域への扉を開くため魔界にあった闇のマナストーンを古代呪法により命と引き換えにして現世と召喚したのだ。その後お前の持っているそのマナの剣で復活され世界全体を魔界に変えるはずだったのだ。だが我らの前に思わぬ敵が現れた。そいつは復活を待たれていた黒の貴公子様の遺体を消去し魂を永遠の闇へと封じ込めてしまったのだ。もはやマナの剣でもどうにもならぬ。私たちの乾杯だ。そこの邪眼の伯爵は自分たちだけででもマナの剣を手に入れて世界を魔界に変えようと考えていたようだが、私は黒の貴公子様のいない世界など考えられない。負け犬がいつまでも無様に抗って黒の貴公子様の死を汚すことは私が許さない。だからこの手で邪眼の伯爵を殺したのさ。これから私も黒の貴公子様の後を追う。復活後の黒の貴公子様の新しい体に使うために邪眼の伯爵がさらわせたローラントの王子は私が魔力でローラント城に返しておいた。エリオットは無事なの？ああ、散り際はわきまえているつもりだ。さらばだ、黒の貴公子様、私の全てだった。お父様の敵だった美獣が。でもこれで終わったわけじゃない。美獣が言っていた敵、その人たちを倒さない限りこれからもたくさんの人がお父様のように殺されていく。私もお父様の敵がいなくなってしまったし、美獣が言っていたことが本当ならエリオットも無事に戻ったのだろうけど、ここでやめるわけにはいきません。本当に平和な世の中が来たと言える日まで皆さんと一緒に行きます。さあ急ぎましょう。
Okay, I just find it very funny how, like, obviously, like, only one of the three main villains can obtain the Sword of Mana. So, like, obviously, like, the other two villains are going to be defeated at some point in the story, and, like, we're only going to have to deal with the one that does. But it's still kind of funny that the two defeated villains have these elaborate cutscenes, essentially like addressing, like essentially narrating the whole backstories to the protagonists and essentially saying, oh no, like all those things I did to the people you loved and the reason you were following me in the first place, it's all fine. Like, it's just kind of funny. But anyway, when Love and Deep Space came out, an otome gacha game with lots of fan service, that game literally hit most spent gacha game in a short time, surpassing Genshin FGO. How is that not when you said the exact point of why they don't market those games? Niche audiences not gonna bring the same amount of money as the bigger audience. I think I get your point. There are certain, like, particular companies that, like, they translate and like publish these games in the West, and they only go for the most successful games already in Japan because they see like a bigger guarantee there. Like, if that's your argument, then I do understand. Funny because people are forgetting that Love and Deep Space only got money because it has basically no competitors. So it's correct to use it as a measurement. The problem is that like media like Love and Deep Space, like it behaves in a very interesting way, because like for example, there are things like free, right, and given, and like anime like that have quite a bit of male fan service, right? Yuri on Ice, that kind of thing, right? And why is media with male fan service like so rare? And it's because of, I think, how the audience that likes male fan service likes to support the thing that they like. Because with female fan service, you see things are being a lot more distributed. Like, obviously there are some that gain more money than others, right? But generally, if you do female fan service, you get a particular slice of the audience. It's more like balanced. So but with like male fan service, it's a lot more centered. You see particular like pieces of media who succeed like tremendously, and some things that will bomb completely. So I think a lot of this has to do with how that audience, like how do I say this? They support their media, because like they congregate around a very small quantity of examples, and then like a lot of the examples that try to do that get like absolutely nothing. So it's more of a, I think my view is that it's more of a distribution thing. Like, it's more lucrative, but also a lot more risky to invest in fan service for women and like gay men, while investing in fan service for like lesbian women and straight men, like your ceiling is a lot like you have a much shorter ceiling, but you also have a much higher floor, you know? So I think that's why things work the way that they do with things like Love and Deep Space, Free, and stuff like that. And again, two things can be true at once. Like, sexism and like homophobia can play a part in this, and like different distribution as well. Like, one does not necessarily exclude the other. Like, we're not in like a story, you know? Like, we're not in like a fantasy story, we're in the real world. Like, issues around here are very complicated, and they generally have a whole bunch of aspects to them. But anyway. Made more than the popular gachas? Yeah, that should be considered. Nah, since the other gachas are all competing between themselves. You said that? No, he's saying that like the other gachas are competing between themselves, and like Love and Deep Space doesn't have a competition. Like, he didn't contradict himself there. It would be like comparing Love and Deep Space to the entire ML gacha industry. Regardless, it did make a lot of money, more than those known MLM gachas. Okay, I'm saying that Love and Deep Space. I'm saying that Love and Deep Space is only focused on male fan service, so it's going. It's only I'm saying that Love and Deep Space is only focused on the male fan service, so it's gonna get women that wanna waste money on that. And since the only game doing that all women are playing that single game. it didn't get the same amount of money. Just think this way, if all ML games were fused into a single gacha, it would generate quadruple the money of Love and Deep Space. Sure, but I don't think anything showing what you're saying about gay MA. I didn't say they were more stingy. I said that they generally focus on fewer products. The products that they do support, like I said, they have a higher ceiling. They generally, like Love and Deep Space, gets a lot more like financial support than even the most like successful gachas with female fan service. So it's not an issue of stinginess, it's an issue of concentration. The people who are into male fan service want to spend a lot on singular products, while the people who like female fan service has an audience generally like to spend a decent amount on various products. Yes, but it's a thing that's like it's not like this, like you're saying that there are fewer products, that's why they do this. No, it's the opposite. Like, there are a lot of products that try to do male fan service, and they fail, they bomb. Like, you don't hear about them because they bombed, but if you go and research about it, you can see that there are lots of gachas, lots of games and anime that try to do male fan service, and they bombed hard. You know? With only a few of them succeeding, but the ones that do succeed tremendously. So that's what I mean. Like, it's a much more, like, how do I say? It's a much more risky market to invest in, but one that yields a lot more reward. It's the difference between, like, yeah, it's that kind of thing, like, high risk, high reward versus low risk, low reward. Male fan service is high risk, high reward, but female fan service is low reward but low risk as well, you know? So it's those habits that dictates the, like, market and not the other way around. Like, off topic, but why is the male fantasy either being happy with a woman, rich and stoic, or immensely depressed and alone? I couldn't tell you, man. Like, it just seems to be a thing that, like, a lot of men are into, that they fantasize about. They like those story concepts, those objectives, you know? Well, a few people do, Arma. A few people do. Whose fantasy is being depressed? Oh, you'll be so surprised. Anyway. I wanna be like, don't do that. Absolutely don't fucking do that. don't fucking do that. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that. Anyway. What gay man has anything to do about what we're talking about? Like, we're talking about the audience for, like, male fan service. Obviously, like, gay men are going to be interested in male fan service. That's why they're being included here. Anyway, because shows with woman fan service are treated as watchable by men and women, straight, but male fan service is seen as only watchable by people attracted to men. like, I'm sure some people think that, but from what I've seen, shows with female fan service are generally treated as like specifically for men. Yeah, I don't think most people at least think that, for example, something like High School DxD or High School of the Dead is like something for men and women, you know? Or at least not straight women. Anyway. Okay, I can tell Pew is joking, but I hope so. I know I like Nana, but it's not because I want to be in a loveless marriage or a suicide watch. Again, like, yeah, like, this is true for you, but to a lot of people, like, being that depressed, contemplative warrior is a fantasy. Like, lots of guys actually want to be Guts, you know? Don't be like Rance, be like Kazuma. God damn it, why are you people like this? Guys, we love staying in our room and not talking to our family all day, then playing Hollow Knight while talking to yourself for an hour to keep yourself happy. Also, I need to be like either OA or green when I'm older. If you have to choose either one, then be like me. Like, at least being like me, you won't be doing anything horrible to women. Move alert. Some anime even show very edgy protags being depressed but super powerful, with this aesthetic of being quiet, mysterious, and said, "Oh, nobody understands me," or "I'm a son of darkness." Yeah, that's what I mean. No, bro, tons of women watch female fan service. It's known then, like, weird girls love that stuff, but never seen a dude watch male fan service. Well, I've seen quite a few dudes watch male fan service, and like, while there are some girls that watch like female fan service, it's not treated as something marketed to them. Like, they're treated as like the exception. Some women do that, but it's not like expected of them to do that, you know? Anyway, I mean, I met women who are into both of those. OA is the floor. God damn it. Don't think you necessarily have to be gay to enjoy media full of fan service of your gender. Like I enjoy Blue Lock as well, just chock full of hot guys. Again, case in point. It's probably because it's more socially acceptable to appreciate women than to appreciate men, like gays-wise, if that makes sense. I don't see that, but okay. If you're worse than OA, look at yourself. Oi. What do you think gay dudes are doing? They're constantly admiring and also competing. Blue Lock is like that. Yes, like, there are a bunch of like dudes in very tight clothes, you know.
フェアリーを返して欲しければ、マナの剣を持ってアルテナ城に戻っておいで、王女様。断りの女王様とお待ちしております。
なんですって。あ、待って。お母様がこんなことをさせるなんて。あの人たち、きっとマナの剣を抜けなかったんです。だからあなたが抜くのを待ってフェアリーをさらったに違いありません。どうするんでち？きっと罠でち。分かってるよ。でも行かなければお母様が一体何を考えてるのかわからない。なぜこうまでしてマナの剣を手に入れなければならないの？こんなやり方、たとえお母様でも許せない。
Sigma Chedora, why are Zoomers like this?
私も魔法が使えるようになったし、マナの剣だってお母様たちより先に手に入れた。きっと私の話を聞いて分かってくれるはずよ。
Hopefully.
断りの女王は決してこんな卑怯なやり方をする人じゃなかったはずだもの。さあ行きましょう。私の国アルテナへ。
Okay. 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 I don't mean that High School DxD at all are meant to be horizon to women. I mean that a lot of shows which have more incidental fan service, which is most anime, are marketed for men and women, boys and girls. Okay, I can see that here. Okay. Again, it's a fantasy. Some people have like, oh, Guts is literally me. I wish I was depressed, broken warrior. There's not enough Ryan Gosling gifts to express my depressed emotions. Definitely see that. For some people it's corny, but I personally see the appeal. I think it's fun too. Okay. Is that thing. Girls can get changed together, but it's gay for men to be naked in the same room. An example of a double standard. I can think of some exceptions to that, but in general, yeah, I can see your point. Dark secret that isn't a secret. A lot of guys would willingly just stop existing if it meant things would improve for the people they care about. The depressed warrior is kind of part of this. Yeah, a lot of guys have the like fantasy of being self-sacrificial. I thought it was going to be like Captain Tsubasa Nazuma 11. Man, why they do this like every time? Don't see that anywhere. None of the guys I would know would think that. No, but there are, again, like, none of the guys you know would think that, but a lot of guys I know would think that. Again, people can be in different contexts. Anyway. Yeah, I can't read what Teto said, but yes, he like they have a good point there. And you're talking about like cultural differences, so I'll use this opportunity to like change the items and like call for him. Where is it? Okay. What happened to the sports genre? I don't know if this is true, but a lot of sports, like male-focused sports anime nowadays seems to be focused on like male fan service. Like, it's not all of them, but like it seems to have become like common to implement this kind of fan service like in sports anime. Okay. Oh, but that's just the thing, like if you're talking about that move, Alea, then it's just a thing of like a cultural thing. Like in general, okay, I gotta do some robotic stuff. See you, Mr. Obscure Anime. Bye. I just fired a really old OG shonen heads. That's why it bothers me. Okay. But a lot of this Movelea is it just has to do with like the culture. Like it's not a thing of just media. It's media being influenced by reality because like a lot of girls, and that's why like a lot of misunderstandings happen. For example, like girls will do something to a guy that they do to their friends, and the guy will see it as a like sign that they're into them, but no, they're just being playful like they do with their friends. Girls in general are much more like close, physically close to each other than guys are, you know? And it's more like that kind of difference being manifested in like in that case specifically, more that kind of difference being manifested in media than just a media cliche, you know? But anyway, yes, Blue Long Ago is very popular, yes. Also, there's no such thing as male fan service. If I'm not into it, then it's not fan service. Facts, don't care about your feeling. God damn it, I almost fucking blew my fucking head, like, reading that shit. Anyway. Okay. What are you saying, Big Pew? That would mean that would mean because I'm ace, no fan service exists. He's joking. He's joking. Don't worry about it. Yes, like I said, Blue Lock was, and I think still is, super popular. So, yeah, I don't think anyone is denying that. In my experience, guys don't play around like some girls seems to, like touching each other usually, but they don't see anything weird about being close proximity while changing. Again, it's the point I was making before. Even football World Cup players were into it. Again, Moverlayer, please do understand that Big Pew is joking. Okay, I actually gotta go and stop shitposting now. Okay, bye. Oh yeah, I see your point, son, but that is still showing a difference is what's considered like socially acceptable and what's considered too intimate. I don't know how much sports anime you watch, but on sports anime there was always at least one fanboy or fruity guy for some reason. Even in Azuma 11 there was a really sus guy. I don't know, there's obviously a difference, but I don't see a problem with it. I don't think like every difference is a problem. I think that's more up for like discussion, like what differences are problems and like what makes a difference a problem. But anyway, guys make gay jokes, but low-key, if I did half of the stuff women do to their friends to mine, they would think I'm a full-on balls lover. Oh, I agree. Real life people are more afraid of seeming like a gay man than a gay woman. I guess cause I have no interest in groping my male friends or being groped, so I have no problem with society that's generally not considered appropriate. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, even in Beyblade burst. Lol. Okay. Should I? I'll push a bit more, but we'll be ending stream soon, okay? Just a heads up. I guess it's another one of those things where we need to run into the... I don't think non-consensual groping is okay for any gender. Well, it isn't. Like... Wait, there is no but there. It just isn't. Like, what am I talking about? Anyway. Consent was the assumption which I was talking about. Ah, okay. Yeah, I don't really think going to the bathroom or touch my friend's ball sack's too appealing, so I think I'll let that double standard stay. Again, like, some things are the way they are because, like, different people are okay with different things. Like, again, there are differences that are, like, obviously problems. There are differences that shouldn't exist. But, like, not every difference is a problem. Some different groups, like, have different experiences and different, like, preferences and things like that. Again, not every difference is a problem. I have always wondered why girls engage so much homoerotic behavior despite apparently being straight. It's because they don't see it as homoerotic behavior. Like, again, girls are a lot closer than guys physically. They just do that and they see it as normal. Like, while to us it's weird. It's again a difference in perception. you know? The one I asked about. Anyway. What the? Ah, okay. A lot of girls come out as lesbians. A lot of guys come out as gay. Like, what's your point there? What? Like, what? What? Like, a lot of girls come out as lesbians. I'm starting to see why. Again, what does that have to do with anything? Like, what? What point are you? Whatever. Anyway. Okay. Maybe I'll have to go there. I don't know. Nothing, I'm incel posting. Ah, okay. God, fuck it. Anyway, there's some kind of barrier happening. And, okay, so it's definitely there. Is there really any point to think like kissing or breast groping by some form of sexual intent? How can they just see it as not gay? Again, I'm not a woman, so I just know that it is. I don't know how it works. Like, I can't start telling you, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. I don't fucking know. I just know that they don't. Okay, so I'm going to have to explore this stuff in order to figure this out. Like, probably is going to be at some point in one of these. Like, there's gotta be something here. Barriers blocking the path. Okay, so how do I deal with this shit? How did we get here? It's a very, like, natural progression, actually. We were talking about, like, the representation of women in media. Like, and discussions about that, like what it means to be a good female character. And then we ended up in, like, a discussion about women. And, like, things that are socially acceptable for women and not for men. Like, I just think the conversation progressed quite naturally. Like, personally. Who knows? Let's ask Mr. Pink over there. Again, I already gave you guys an answer. Son, the thing is, they do see it as gay, but what you guys not getting, that the fun of it. Again, whatever you say, I just don't know. Frankly, I just don't. So, whatever, you guys have your fun. I think you need to look at the furnace that's in Angela's castle, right? Okay. Like, you do whatever you want, son, but I am not going to participate in that. I straight up am not. No thank you. And yeah, I have no fucking idea. Like, I interacted with it, but like, Oh, I think I get what I need to do. I think I get it now. Okay. So yeah, I need to go into the basement, and that's how I dispel the barrier. Girl himbo. I whatever. It's just I'm not going to like add to that conversation. I don't think I can. I could if I wanted to. But yeah, I think since I'll have to go to a whole other area to like advance the game, I'm going to have to do that in another stream. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to kill this very productive conversation you guys are having. Sorry to say. Thank you all for watching. And I do hope to see you like next time. Bye.